With the addition of the boardwalk area of Cedar Point, what will the future hold for this prominent coaster capital or so-called coaster capital of the world? I'll talk about this and more in this latest Thrill Rides video. Please be sure to hit that subscribe button, bell notification button for future videos that'll drop down here on our channel. If you like this video, please be sure to give it a like. Comment what you think below. This is going to be a pretty thorough video. I'm going to talk about a lot of things over the next 10 minutes regarding the park, the future of the park, and what I believe is going to happen and change at the park. Now, the Boardwalk Edition upset a lot of people. Some people actually do not like the addition. Other people were okay with the addition, with the removal of Wicked Twister and also with the relocation of a couple flat rides and also the addition of a Wild Mouse coaster, a very short Zamperla coaster that's only going to be about 1,300 feet long, which is extremely short compared to other coasters at Cedar Point. Usually Cedar Point likes to break records with like the steepest drop, the longest coaster, but for some reason with this one they basically went with whatever the floor, not the floor model was, because obviously some things of this coaster are going to be a little bit different. Obviously the layout and the angles are going to be a little bit different than a lot of the other Zamperla models similar to this. However, it's going to be pretty much the same size as all the Wild Mouse coasters that are made by Zamperla. Now, what happens is that the couple of flat rides that were relocated over by Corkscrew are going to be located on the boardwalk, so you can have the addition of those two flat rides plus Windseeker and Gatekeeper and this Wild Mouse coaster and also the new Grand Pavilion. So what that's going to do is that's going to allow them to have a complete boardwalk area. They're also going to redefine the boardwalk along Lake Erie in the beach area, so you're going to have that as well. So that's going to be a more walkable area. You're going to be able to hit up rides and attractions and go over to the beach, or if you want to eat lunch over at the Grand Pavilion, you'll be able to do that as well. I think it's a great idea. I think it helps expand the park at a cheap rate. But what does Cedar Point also have planned for other areas of the park? Well, let's go ahead and talk about that. I believe by the end of 2023 that Corkscrew is going to be removed at the park. There are rumors speculating around Corkscrew and around Aero coasters that parts are going to be becoming a lot harder to find, which means that 3 of the coasters that are sitting at Cedar Point possibly will have issues. Now, do I think Cedar Creek Mine Ride will also get removed? Yes. However, most of these coasters probably have a life of about 5 to 10 years on them. I really feel like Magnum XL 200 will eventually be removed. I feel like Corkscrew definitely by the end of 2023. I also feel like Gemini is going to get removed within the next 5 years. I feel like any of these Aero coasters that are at Cedar Point, like I said, have a life expectancy of maybe 5 to 10 years at the park. Also, Top Thrill Dragster, with the issues that it's had over the years, I think what we're seeing with the removal of the cable, either they're basically looking at possibly replacing some aspects of the coaster, which I highly do not believe. Originally, I thought that there's a possibility that they might add LSM launches to the coaster, but I have exited that out because I really feel with the relocation of the 2 flat rides and also with the addition of a small coaster that we are looking at a major addition coaster for the 2024 season. I really feel like the additions for 2023 are in between, kind of like what Cedar Point did when they added Wicked Twister and then they built Top Thrill Dragster. I really feel like this is an in-between year. We're not going to hear anything about this new coaster till the end of next season, when they probably announce that get your last rides on Corkscrew. And also I feel like maybe Top Thrill Dragster will be removed in the off season this year. It hasn't operated all year, and it's been an eyesore, and also it's been a maintenance nightmare for the park. And I really feel like Cedar Point and Cedar Fair are just tired of dealing with the maintenance on that coaster. So who do I think are the possible new ride manufacturers if Top Thrill Dragster and Corkscrew get removed? I really feel like you have GCI, which is a huge contender, but I really feel like GCI is still years away. I feel like if Cedar Point's going to do a GCI, they're going to want to replace Gemini and add a dueling version of a GCI, which we have seen models of that at IAAPA, and I'll show it later this year when I go to IAAPA this November. I'll show you that model again to kind of talk about it a little more, maybe try to get an interview with GCI regarding that. But I really feel like what's going to happen at Cedar Point is either Cedar Point's going to add a record-breaking single rail coaster, because RMC has proven that those single rail coasters, they could add a huge capacity on them. So the longer it is, the more trains they could basically stack on it, up to probably 3, and you're probably going to be able to push people through really fast. Or I feel like RMC is going to basically install its first TRex coaster. I know that RMC claims that they put it on the back burner, but if Cedar Point ends up being interested in it as a replacement for Top Thrill Dragster, they could easily build one in that area of the park. And with that type of track, you can maneuver it around different things, so it wouldn't be that hard to build it in limited space confinements. Let me know what you think in the comments below about that. But I really feel like they're going to work with RMC in some aspect, and I really feel like RMC is going to build the next coaster, whether it be a single rail or the TRex model. It's just going to have to be adequate to replace Top Thrill Dragster, and also, well, not really Corkscrew, because Corkscrew is not really like, it's like a fan favorite, not really a fan favorite. I don't think people are really going to care if that gets removed. But Top Thrill Dragster, whatever replaces that, it's going to have to be a replacement where people don't really care that Top Thrill Dragster is gone. And I really feel like a record-breaking TRex coaster might be that fit for the park. And then, like I said, what I really feel like is going to happen is that you're going to get a removal of Magnum XL 200, Gemini, and then the Cedar Creek Mine Ride within the next 5 to 10 years. And that's going to add the addition where they're going to work with GCI and other coaster manufacturers to improve the aspects of the park. Because as parts get harder to find for aero coasters, parks are going to start removing them more and more and more. Going away from Cedar Point, I really feel like Silver Dollar City is quite possibly going to be removing their mine coaster from aero as well. So I really feel like parks are moving away from that. We saw that over at Kings Island with Vortex getting removed, and also with other aero coasters getting removed across the country. So that's going to continue to happen. Like I said, as more parts become harder and harder and harder to get for their coasters. Because if you're trying to save money on maintenance costs, that is the first thing you're going to look at doing, is cutting costs by getting new coasters in there, because the maintenance costs, ordering the parts, is becoming harder and harder to do. And with a added downtime, what that does is it adds to less customer satisfaction, more people upset about downtime. Also, it makes your park not have as many attractions for people to ride, causing a lot of customer complaints, and that is not something Cedar Point wants. So yeah, they're not trying to have the park with the most roller coasters in the world, but they want to have the best coasters, and that is why I feel like this plan probably fits the park the most. And like I said, let me know what you think in the comments below. I really feel like if any park's going to get a TRex model, it's going to be Cedar Point, because Cedar Point wants to be the first and the best of a lot of different things. You look at Steel Vengeance, it is pretty much the longest RMC coaster, and while many people might want to debate if it's the best, I mean, that's up for debate, but we do know that when it opened, it drew a lot of people back into Cedar Point to ride that. You have Maverick, you have Millennium Force, you had Top Thrill Dragster, but when you look at it, besides Steel Vengeance, there hasn't been really any good additions over the last so many years. Since 2018, we haven't seen anything get added at the park. So it makes a lot of sense that the park would try to add something that's going to be eye-dropping, and the TRex would do that. Now, do I think that a GCI, a smaller version GCI, or a single rail RMC could do the same? Kind of, but a single rail RMC is not going to replace the awe that was Top Thrill Dragster. Top Thrill Dragster was jaw-dropping. It took your breath away when it first opened because you were going 0 to 120 in under 5 seconds, and it took the air out of you. Not as much as like S&S air launch coasters, but it was enough where people were excited to ride it all the time. And I remember when I first rode it, you had long lines, you had people waiting in the stands to watch people ride this coaster. And just because it broke the 400-foot barrier, people just wanted to ride it. So if this T-Rex gets added, I could see them going 400 feet on that. So it would be the first basically chain lift coaster that would go 400 feet. Obviously, we have, King the Ka, and we had Top Thrill Dragster that went over 400 feet, but it was due to a hydraulic launch system. It wasn't due to a regular chain lift. So this would be a new feat in its own. And with the advances in chain lift technology, I could definitely see it being done. But that concludes my video today. I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know if you think this is going to be the future of Cedar Point in Sandusky, Ohio. Thanks again for watching. Have a great one.